Well, hello everyone. It's Nancy Matthews coming to you with Women's Prosperity Network and our Be Real, Get Real podcast. This is the edition of Women's Prosperity Network, our show where we bring you real women who are out there getting stuff done, making a difference, especially in these interesting times, moving forward, no matter what happens. And today I have Elizabeth Pomperfield? No.
Pampalone.
Pampalone. I'm like, I'm going to say it correctly. Elizabeth Pampalone is with us today, and she's with Absolute Marketing, and she is absolutely brilliant. So I'm so excited that she's here today, and she's going to share a little bit about how she got started, what she does now, and what really lights her up. So let's start with what really lights you up, Elizabeth.
Well, I do love marketing. It's definitely a passion of mine ever since I was 14 and I built my first website. That was it. I was hooked.
You were hooked, right? Watching those creations come to life. I'm aligned with you. I love to create websites and just see like, duh, there it is.
Yeah, exactly. It's definitely very satisfying. And also watching clients come in and sit down and be so frustrated and so overwhelmed, and then watch them walk out with everything done and that weight off their shoulders. It's really, really great for us to see that. So I love that.
Yep. So that's what lights you up. So I'm curious, 14 years old, you built your own website. How did that come about?
Yep. I was homeschooled. So I had been homeschooled almost all my life. And my mom took me to the library a lot, and they had a class on HTML. So I said, I want to go to this. And I didn't play piano or anything like that. So she said, all right, we'll get you into something, right? Find your thing. Right. And I just decided that I loved code at that moment. I just loved how you could take a blank page of nothing and create something from it that had color and picture and all kinds of things just from typing in some lines of text. So I started with that, and I basically read every single book that my library got on HTML, on coding, on CSS from that point forward. And then when I decided to go to college, I got a 2-year degree, and I am a web programmer. So it definitely kind of snowballed from there, and it became the career that I chose. So it really worked out, and I just still love it to this day.
Which is beautiful. Now, it sounds like you've had a very easy path and rise. You created all these businesses. Life has just been going perfect and smooth for you with no hiccups, right?
Oh, yeah, sure.
It's that road of an entrepreneur, which goes all the way around, right?
Yes, and it wouldn't be a story if it wasn't, difficult and have the failures along with the successes.
Mm-hmm. So share with our audience, what is one of the biggest lessons you've learned from something, I'll call it a mistake, but, something that didn't go as planned. Let's just call it like that. What's one of the biggest lessons you've learned?
Well, when I got out of college, I immediately got married. I had a boyfriend. We were like, this is it. This is what we're doing. And when I got married, I was a programmer. I worked at a firm and I did programming, and I hated it because it had become the job instead of the thing that I loved. And I still did the job. I was like, okay, well, this is my job now. This is my life now. And then my husband ended up leaving after 3 months. So it was a very devastating blow to me, and I couldn't focus at work. I was too much into my head. I couldn't cope with anything that was going on. So I quit, and I actually became a hostess at restaurants. Like, that's what I did. And I had kind of walked away from that a little bit. And then my parents said, guess what? We're moving 700 miles away and you're going with us. And I was like, well, I guess I have nothing else to do. So we moved from Ohio to Florida. And I guess it's more than 700. It's quite a ways. But we moved from Ohio to Florida, and I decided I wanted to start something new. So I started a business, and I repaired people's computers in their homes. And it started with me going to senior centers, teaching computers, people saying their computers weren't working. Then I went to their homes and fixed them. And it became this huge business that I didn't really realize was a business until I looked around and I was like, oh my gosh, there are other business owners out there doing similar things to what I'm doing. I guess I have a business. And then I realized I could use my marketing skills from way back, my website skills, my just marketing things I'd learned as a kid when my mom had like small businesses. I said, I can use this. So I ended up creating my marketing agency alongside that. It didn't do too well because I didn't know a lot of business people at that point. I knew all residential clients.
Right.
And so then I ended up building my marketing firm alongside it. And over time, the marketing firm overtook the residential side. We sold the residential side, and now we just have the marketing firm.
Perfect. So you went full circle back to that thing you loved, right?
Yep.
So in that time, and here's my question. So in that time where you decided to go become a hostess, how did it feel? Like a lot of people think they just need to push through. And it sounds to me like giving yourself a break actually created space for the next level.
It did. And it gave me the mental space to say, I can go to my job and not have to really think about it. Like I knew I could do the job. I was friendly. I talked to people. It was kind of natural for me to do that. So I chose something that was going to be really easy, even though the money wasn't great, but it was going to be easy for me so that I could actually recover from what had happened,
right,
and move forward. And then when we moved here, which was just a few months later, within that first year is when I built those two businesses. And like I said, I didn't see them as businesses. I just saw them as, well, I'll try this. Well, I'll try that. And I was still a hostess for quite a while because it was income and it was, stable money. But I was still building that business. I was still, doing that 3 days a week. And then I was doing it 4 days a week. And then I was doing it 5 days a week. And then that hostess thing kind of went away. And I was able to go full time after a couple of years. And that was really hard because, when something like that has happened to you and you've kind of had everything stripped away and you're just left with not really much left, you'd feel like, well, now what, And I think my biggest lesson in all of that was perseverance. And I think that's definitely helped me in business. It's helped me in life, but learning that, okay, you got knocked down and you skinned your knee or whatever, like you have to get back up. No one can make you get back up. No one can drag you back up, right? You have to do that. And so not only taking the time to heal from what happened in the divorce, but also starting something new and going, we'll see if it works, and try it, and not being afraid that if it did fail, which has happened many times, that it wasn't going to be the end of the world, because I already had something that failed that was major. And I got over that. Like I moved past that. I moved forward. I grew from that. So anything else that happened after that.
Right. So that's a great lesson. So thank you for that. A great lesson could be take a look at some of the failures you've had and use those as benchmarks. Oh, at least I didn't mess up this time as bad as I did that time. And have that there. And I think this concept of perseverance, I totally agree that we've got to keep moving forward. In the landscape of marketing, which I also love marketing because it's all about, really, marketing boils down to people and how you speak with them and understand them and serve them. Like that's what marketing really is. And one of the challenges that I see a lot of entrepreneurs going through is they try something. So let's say you're going to do a webinar, or you're going to put out a new product, and you post it on Facebook, or you send out an email and nobody buys. And then, let me go create something else, right? So I think that there's perseverance in regards to marketing that's often overlooked.
Yes, and consistency. And I think those two go hand in hand. And then there's also the time when you know when to move on. And so I say give things 3 to 6 months before you really throw in that towel, because you don't want to, like you said, kind of prematurely go, oh, that's not working, moving on. That's not working, moving on. And I think 3 to 6 months is going to give you that quarter, half a year. And it sounds like a lot, because when you're trying new things, you're thinking, I've got to move to the next thing, otherwise I might miss something, right? But really that 3 to 6 months is going to give you a full picture, and you're going to be able to make a correct decision rather than just a spur of the moment, jumpy decision. And it's going to look choppy to your clients too. So as long as you're sticking with something for a good period of time, if it doesn't work, then you can, leave it off and move to the next thing, but definitely give it that time and space it needs. And a lot of people don't have that patience. And so that's why my firm comes in and is like, okay, like, this is okay. We can do this for a little while and see how it works.
Yeah, you got to give it the time. And I love that my friend Tim Gillette says marketing is the process of finding out the help that people need and then getting it for them.
Yes, I love that.
I love that as well. And a funny story about persistence and giving it enough time. So I love the benchmark of 3 to 6 months. So think about if you put something out there and people aren't gobbling it up, that's feedback. Okay, what do I need to tweak? What do I need to look at? Is it my messaging? Is it my timing? There's always to use it as feedback. And back in the day, have you ever heard of guerrilla marketing with Jay Conrad Levinson? So I didn't know Jay, but I know his wife, Jeannie, very well. She's one of the members of Women's Prosperity Network. And she shares the story when Jay, back in the 60s, had his ad agency. And he was hired by the Philip Morris Company to market Marlboro cigarettes, which at the time was a woman's cigarette. They said, no, we want to make this a man's cigarette. So they came up with the whole cowboy thing and spent millions of dollars on this marketing campaign. And after a year, it still had not changed the public's perception if it was a cigarette for a man or a woman. And he said, stay the course. Well, and the rest is history. So I think it's really important to stay the course and don't try to do it in a vacuum. You really need to get people to give you other perspectives and ideas. So tell us a little bit about the ways that you work with clients, because I'm sure after meeting you on our show today, some people are going to want to reach out to you.
Well, thank you. Yeah, I actually help our clients to create 1 year of marketing content in 5 days. So we spend a day on branding, a day on websites, a day on your social media, creating 12 months of posts in a day, creating 12 months of blogs in a day. And then the 5th day is creating 12 months of email marketing campaigns and funnels in a day. And the reason we do this is we found that people just have not enough time, but we need their brain to create all this stuff because they have it all up here and we need to pull that out of them. And emails don't do it. Let me tell you, they just don't. So we actually sit down with our clients one-on-one. Everything is done in person. And we tried doing virtual through last year and it worked okay, right? But it wasn't the same. And so we've just gone back to in-person sessions. And we really love that because people will come to Florida, which is nice, and have a vacation, or we will fly to them. And we love that we get to sit with them and really get to know their business. But then we can make their website in a day, and we can make their brand and all their collateral in a day and get them moved on, right? Because those things can really trip up clients and small businesses. So we just want you to move on with your life, your day, right? And get those things done so that you can actually use them instead of having it be, oh, my website's not finished yet. Oh, my branding isn't finished. Or, oh, we don't have these pieces yet. And just move on so that you can actually go out there and sell. I find a lot of times people get stuck at the selling point because they haven't done all those other prep things that need to be done. So we want to get them moved out and moved on so they can get their business up and running, or at least improved, because sometimes we have businesses that come that are 30 years old and they just never did all that stuff, or they did it pieces here and there, and we can actually get on that whole suite, everything together right on time. So and we do podcasting and membership sites and e-commerce and all that too, but the 5-day process, whether we do 2 of the 5 days or all of the 5 days, it's really worth it for the clients that we work with, and we love what we do.
I love it. I love it. And tell us about this toolkit that you put together for us.
Well, we're using tools all the time. I mean, we're always looking for the best schedulers for certain types of platforms, because sometimes if you're using, a social platform over here and then using another one over here, the same schedulers don't work for both exactly the right way. So we found that there are so many tools out there. And if you've ever heard of Martech 5000, they actually calculate all the tools together. They don't tell you how good they are. They just put them all on a list. And there's thousands and thousands of them, over 8,000 right now. And so what we've done is we use a tool, we vet it, we decide if it's good. If it's good for a majority of our clients, then we put it in our toolkit. And then we tell you why we use it, how we use it, and what the differences are between 2 or 3. And why we like it better than others. And then sometimes we have discount codes that go with those as well. But this is basically like, if you were to ask the expert, what do you use for? These are the answers that we would get. So this is a whole tool, constantly updated, and we'd love for people to download it for free.
Love it. Thank you for that generous gift. And as we round out our conversation today, so I recall you saying at the beginning of our talk today that you're 14 years old, you went to the library, found out about this HTML coding class. And when I was about 12, I fell in love with coding as well, interestingly enough. So our paths are very similar. And then you said, I started reading every book, and then I took the class. So as you've grown in business as a business owner and entrepreneur over the years, do you still, like, what are some of your favorite books to read? How do you keep your spirit going, your mind fresh? How do you keep innovating? What do you do to build that up?
Well, I sign up for the new tools that cross my desk. I sign up for them. I do the trial, I go through them, and then occasionally I'll vet our own tools. So if we're using something for invoicing or we're using something for social media, I go through and I say, you know what, I wish it did this, or I wonder if there's a way we could do that. And so then I go through and I pull 10 new tools and I vet them all. I use them all. I get in there and tweak them and play with them until I see, well, no, we've still got the best, or wow, there's this new thing out there that really is going to make a difference, and it's not just shiny object syndrome. And so I'm constantly doing that, which I feel like keeps me abreast of the latest developments. And I also follow my peers in the industry, and I'm on a bunch of their email lists, and I just skim their emails when they come through. I don't just archive them. I don't just, I'll read that later. When I see them come through, I spend 10 to 15 minutes a day reading through emails, because they're saying stuff that I might not have heard yet, or they heard about a news story that I didn't see, or something like that. And then I also go to a lot of networking events, and I talk to real people on the ground in other industries. And I think those three things are really what keeps me fresh and abreast of things. Whereas if I wasn't doing those things, I think I might be a little in the dark.
Yep. Fantastic. And what do you do to keep such a cheery spirit? Your attitude is off the chain, girl.
Thank you. I just think that this is actually really fun. And I know a lot of people get overwhelmed, and I'd rather someone come into our office and just have fun and be excited, and not be so worried and stressed. And so when we do work together, we play music, and I actually work with my sister like you do.
Oh, that's cool.
And so we try to just, you know, when things happen, they happen. We can't stop them in most cases. Like, things just happen, and we just have to deal with them the best we can. And then even this morning, our internet went out. I had to go fix all that stuff and change things around. And so when that happens, it's just like, well, this is what we're dealing with right now. And if we're grumpy about it, then we're not going to be very nice, and nobody's going to want to work with us. Kind of like on the playground. Well, if you're not very nice, no one will want to play with you. I kind of keep that philosophy.
I love that it boils down to lessons we learned on the playground. All right. Well, Elizabeth, thank you so much for making time to be with us today. I know our audience is delighted to meet you. We'll follow you. Be sure you go to getabsolutemarketing.com/toolkit. Keep learning, keep growing, and be persistent and consistent. Thanks, Elizabeth. Bye, everybody.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.